What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's little bit of episode. It's not much. It's just going to be, if you watch some of our pig trapping, then you've seen this little message, and I was sitting out here on the porch walking the dog again, and I just want to throw this message out there because a lot of people may not have seen it at the end of one of my hog videos, but I just think that it just needs to be an episode of maybe just a little faith and motivation, and just a little bit of me testifying that sometimes our ego and our pride and the things in the life and the devil that tells us that we aren't good enough, but we always are, and you are too. So don't give up on life, and don't think that nobody's giving up on you. Any which way, y'all listen to my words sitting on the front porch, and well, I think me and the kid and the wife are gonna go try to set a little old turtle trap in the pond down there. So any which ways. Yep. I want to tell you a little story real quick before we end this video. Y'all see these shoes right here? These shoes I wore today. They need to be washed. Smell like pig poo. Let me tell you, a couple Sundays ago, I was out walking the dog, carrying on, and I had my Sunday clothes on. I had these at the front door over here. And I just put my dirty shoes on around here and let the dog use the bathroom and whatnot. My wife come out, and she's like, "Hey, it's about time to go and put the dog up." So I run in there. And then he run in there. The kennel is right at the front door. So I just put the dog in the kennel and come right back out the front door. I always basically go out the back door because I've always got we got a shoe thing right there. And I just come right out the front door, the car's parked out front, and jumped in, and well, we went to church. As we were going to church, and we got to church, and I stepped out of the car, as I looked down as my foot from the car to the floor, or the ground, I noticed I had my old shoes on. And I was telling my wife, I said, "Baby," I said, "I got my old dirty shoes on." I said, "We done made it to church, and it's almost time to go in." And she said, "Well, just go inside, and we'll go straight to the pew." And she didn't say don't stop and talk to nobody. She just said, just go on and get your seat and get down, and you can kind of tuck your feet up under the pew. You know what I'm saying? So I did. And as we went on in, I kind of shook hands with the ushers and whatnot, went on. And as I was sitting there waiting on church to kind of get started, and this guy touched me on my shoulder from behind. He said, "David?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You mind taking up offering today?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can." But my mind was going, I got my dirty shoes on. I'm worried about what people's going to think about me. Me showing that I showed up in some old pig shoes, basically. And I sat there for a minute, and I was kind of going through my head as he walked off, and I was thinking, Lord, I was like, I got my dirty shoes on. Got my dirty shoes on. And about the time the guy come back by, and he tapped me on my shoulder again, he said, "Well, do you mind praying before the offering?" And see, at our church now, you don't just walk down there to the table and pick up the little trays, the money trays. You get up on the stage at the podium and you pray. So now, not only I got my dirty shoes on, I got to take up the offering. Now I got to stand up on the stage in front of everybody with them dirty pig shoes. Well, that just kept weighing on me. And I kept thinking, Lord, why I got to be seen? Why I got to be seen? And it was distracting me. But I did it anyway. And as I went up there and I prayed and carried on, I took up the offering. And man, I'll just be honest with you, I didn't put my head down as I was handing out the offering plates. I was eyeballing everybody, like looking them in the eye. Because I wanted to see if they was going to look down at my shoes. Kind of like, when you got food or something in your teeth or maybe a bump on your forehead. And when you're trying to talk to somebody, they're looking at you, looking at that spot. And nobody paid attention to my shoes. Everybody's there for Jesus. Everybody's there for the word. And I think so many times, I don't know if you call it the devil gets in your head, tries to distract you. With me, it's anxiety. So I had the anxiety. Maybe it was distracting me from the word. But I noticed that nobody was paying attention to the shoes. And had I told that man, I feel like if I told that man no, because of the insecurities that I was facing, I don't believe that God would be blessing me the way he has. And I don't mean financially or I just mean like the blessing of the things that come my way because I stood up and got in front of everybody when basically the devil's saying, you ain't good enough to stand in front of nobody. Look at your old dirty shoes. And sometimes I think we think of that. We don't go to church or we don't show up somewhere because of maybe we don't have church clothes. Maybe we don't have collared shirts. And I believe that we come as we are. But I also believe that I put on that collar shirt and those nice pants to show up and take the effort to be at the Lord's house. But I'm going to tell you something I learned from a long time ago from a church that I used to go to in Macondi. There was a time that I couldn't afford a collared shirt or another shirt. I just wore old city clothes from where I worked. And my church congregation come together and got me some clothes when I couldn't afford it. Or maybe I could and I was just misusing of funds in other ways. I don't know. But they helped me. And that's what we do as a church, as a Christian community. Don't fear of what you don't have. Because when you come to God, you're going to have more than you ever thought you could. And I'm living proof of it. So I just say today, no matter what you got or what you don't got, stand up for the Lord. If you feel like he's telling you something, do it. Because I can tell you, what I'm worried about something that goes on my feet when Jesus is willing to wash my feet. Come on. Whoo! Hope that tried to motivate y'all just a little bit. And if it didn't, I'll try to do better. And if it did, maybe your day, your week, or your month, or life in general will be better. Y'all stay strong, stay faithful, be thankful. Any which way, y'all have a good one. God bless. And as always, Jesus loves you.